Ugh. Why is this not working? Let's try this way. There we go. All right.
I'm so happy that the weather's nice. Yes. I'm not a winter person. So people in the hard. So my mood is like 500% better. I feel like I'm tired.
Oh, that's what's going on. We have a waiting room. How do I do that? Mm. All right. Good. If you guys see anybody pop up on the column on the right, I gotta admit everybody one at a time. And there's a lot of people that are not here. Okay. So we started working through our chapter on leading tone. Chords. This is page 267. And what we learned about leading tone chords is that they Right, so yeah, I've got to figure out how to strip the waiting room off of this Zoom link because it's not helpful and I've never believed in them. They only created the waiting room when Zoom became a thing during COVID because people were jumping into Zoom rooms and creating a lot of havoc. I don't know if you guys remember that, but that was a thing to Zoom bomb with all kinds of awful stuff. So, but I don't think people care that much anymore. Okay. Yeah, so I may be getting some notifications because I've got a lot of stuff going on right now outside of this. I can turn this off though, or turn it down so it's not annoying. Okay, there's another one. Yay. All right, hopefully that does it. Okay, so leading tone chords. This is page 267. And I want to focus today on just doing a couple of the examples from 12.3 and 12.4. This procedure using key signatures is extremely important. The first thing we know about leading tone chords is that the root is what scale tone?
The root is the seventh.
Yeah, it's the leading tone. Hence, leading tone seventh chord. Right? Leading tone seventh chord. When we're working with key signatures, couple things. Couple things. Okay, we have half diminished. And those are found in major keys. And then we have full diminished, and those are found at this point in time in minor keys. Yes. The difference between the two, minor third plus minor third plus major third gives you half diminished. And then for full, it's going to be all minor thirds. Okay, so with major keys, there's not a lot to do other than to stack the notes off a key signature. So we'll take number 8. This is level 3, and it's bass clef, I believe. Bass clef. And what they're looking for is 7 half diminished. Okay? 7 half diminished. There's only one step here. Find the leading tone and stack the notes up. So if it's E major, what's a half step below E?
It's D sharp.
D sharp. Alls I have to do, right? Problem solved. Okay. So the leading tone 7th chord is not any different than constructing any other diatonic chord in a major key. We're locating the leading tone and then stacking it up. Parks.
I was gonna say, just so we always use the half diminished one
For major keys,
for
yes.
major keys, and then for minor keys.
Minor keys is full,
Yeah, okay.
major keys is half. And I'm going to tell you that that's true for now. Later on, that's going to go away, and we're going to have more flexibility.
All the rules can be broken.
All the rules can change. Okay, so let's try B flat. What's a half step below B flat?
A.
All right, so we're talking about A, half diminished 7. Find the A, stack the notes. Now, the other name that we give for half diminished is minor 7 flat 5. So this is also called A minor 7 flat 5. All right? And I explained that on Monday. But the review on that is interesting because if I take the key signature away and all this other information, and I create an A7 chord. Okay, now we have A7. This is a dominant 7th chord, right? Dominant 7th chord. Let's get rid of this because it's confusing. Okay, Amanda, you good with this? A7? That's a chord we know. Suppose I take away the sharp. Bye-bye. Now what is it?
It's A minor 7.
It's A minor 7 because the triad now is minor. A minor with a 7. A minor 7.
Makes sense.
Suppose I do this. What did I do to the 5th of the chord?
You flattened it and you made it a half diminished chord.
Yeah, now it's A half diminished 7. Okay, but in the world of music in America, we say A minor 7 flat 5. Not A half diminished as often, although we can call it both.
If we were doing this on an E flat chord, would we end up with a B double flat?
Yes, good point. So here's let me take you through Parks's question. Okay, this is E flat 7. This is a dominant 7. Oops, not minor. This is dominant 7, right? What do I need to do to make it minor 7? I need to lower the 3rd 1/2 step. Okay, now it's E flat minor 7. If I lower the 5th, now it's E flat minor 7 flat 5. I don't say double flat 5. That's too much information. What the flat 5 is telling me is that the 5th is 1/2 step lower than it would be for a dominant 7 chord. So that's as simple as it is. So when I go to play the chord shape on the guitar, or on the piano, I know exactly what shape that is, what interval combination that is. It's the simplest way of understanding what it is. Oftentimes when we're reading chord symbols, we're not seeing this. We're just reading this. Far easier to read the chord symbols if you know your chords. But that's why we practice.
Nice way to sneak it in. I've noticed that all the time music teachers always like sneak in, please practice is enmeshed in everything.
Yep. Yeah, I would agree with Jimmy that the key to any vocation, and music is a vocation and an art, is practice, practice, practice. Think about Monet. You know, he went out and painted the haystacks all those different times under different light patterns in order to try to understand how the paint works, how light works. And if we don't go to the piano and practice all the chords, put it this way, if you do nothing, nothing happens. If you do something, something may happen. But if you really throw yourself into the practice of music, it's amazing what can actually happen with such little time. Remember key signatures. It's like, oh my God, there's 15 key signatures. How am I going to remember all this? Well, 10 minutes later. Yeah. Okay, so now we need to do a couple of them in minor keys, so we'll be ready to go on. There's one more step for minor keys, and that is we have to make one change. The leading tone for minor keys is associated to the harmonic minor scale. Okay? So when we're asked to construct a leading tone chord, as we're going to be doing soon here, we have to raise the seventh scale tone half a step. So we'll do a couple that are somewhat tricky. Number 3 is treble clef. I'm just not liking this chalk. Number 3 is in what key? B flat minor.
Which one?
Oh, number 3 on assignment 12.4.
Yeah, so this is level 4. Number 3. And they're looking for B flat minor. 7 full diminished 7. Okay? So the first step, what note, let's get on the piano keyboard here to walk through this, just to see the logic, to make sure we're clear. Take a second for it to flip. Ho hum. Okay, so here's the tonic B flat. The note that's a half step below B flat is A. That's the leading tone. In the key signature, A is actually A flat. So we're going to have to use a natural to fix it. Right? Whenever you're in a minor key and you see a natural, your brain should be going, ooh, harmonic minor probably. Right? So I'm going to find the A and do step 1, which is just stack it up. And then check the key signature. It's a flat. Flats become naturals when raised. And therefore, now I have the correct construction for the leading tone chord. That one's kind of cool. Let's do number 4, G sharp minor. This has five sharps. Also treble clef. And we're looking for 7 full diminished 7. And we'll go back to the piano to take a peek at G sharp. Okay, now you're probably thinking, oh, well, I know what G sharp is. That's the middle black key in the piano. We'll wait for that to catch up. The internet's running slow today. Here's your G sharp. Let's go a half step below. Boop. Well, it looks like a G natural, but we have to spell it as an F. Yeah, so it's going to be F double sharp.
Since we have an F sharp in the key signature, do we only need to add 1, or do we still need to add a double?
Oh, that's a great question. Parks is asking the question, because it's sharped in the key signature, do we need to add the double sharp to it? Well, let's stack it up. Okay. Now, how it works when we're raising pitch. If we're raising a flat, it becomes a natural for key signature notes, right? If we're raising a natural, it becomes a sharp. If we're raising a note that's sharp, it becomes double sharp. Okay, so the answer to the question is we need to add the double sharp. Even though it's in the key signature as a sharp, this is telling us F double sharp. The reason for this is because we have this concept from Theory 1 that pitch class. Okay? F double sharp is a specific pitch class. Hang on a second. Getting a Teams call. Hello. I cannot hear. Well, if they want to call me, they can use my cell phone. Okay, so F double sharp is a specific location in pitch. So we have to use the double sharp to show that. The other reason why this is true is because when I write the scale with the key signature and I make it harmonic minor, I need to use the double sharp. So think about it this way. If I put the accident, if I wrote this with accidentals like you guys had to, in the chapter 2, in chapter 2, you did this. Now I want to make it harmonic minor. It changes this guy here, and it becomes F double sharp. Okay? So we get that augmented second there. Does that answer your question?
Yes.
Okay. Questions of notation are important to ask because when we're taught notation, the rules seem arbitrary sometimes. Like there's no rhyme or reason for this. It's like, why do we have to do it that way? Okay, so now let's do the most difficult of the minor keys that nobody uses. A sharp minor. A sharp minor. Uh, yeah, okay, so we're looking for a half step below A sharp. The note is a G. It's sharped in the key signature, so that's gonna look like this. Now there's a kind of another way to think about all of these things. And that is more tactile. Okay, more hands-on, right? We'll wait for this to flip in a second here. This is kind of fun. Consider the key of F minor. What's the leading tone?
E.
Yeah, so now what's the name of 7 full diminished 7? E full diminished 7. Okay? How about G minor? Go down a half step.
F sharp.
F sharp full diminished 7. A minor. G sharp full diminished 7. B minor. A sharp full diminished 7. C minor. B full diminished 7. So we could play this game across the keyboard. We just have to be mindful of fictitious keys. We have an A sharp and a B flat key, minor key, but we do not have an A flat minor key, but we do have a G sharp minor key, and as we discovered, that's going to be an F double sharp full diminished 7.
One thing I do must ask is why is there considered to be no A flat minor key? Because it seems like it should be a thing, but
Wait, let me back up on you, Jimmy. A flat minor is a thing. It's relative to C flat minor.
okay.
I apologize for that. Yes.
If you're just in a normal minor key, the only accidental is going to be on that leading tone. Or if you're in C, if you're in C minor, you have your B flat, E flat, A flat, and C minor. Then if you start on a B natural, you don't need to add any other accidentals other than the key.
Correct. Yep, there's only going to be one accidental on that chord. For now. The next chapter is called secondary, and then we're going to have a bunch of accidentals. Spelling becomes weird. Okay, so the next step is to go to 12.5 and take a look at the instructions for 12.5. This is kind of fun. It says here that each exercise is a chorale melody as harmonized by Bach. Before completing the harmonizations on paper, play them on the piano, adding alto and tenor voices. Play soprano, alto, and tenor voices with the right hand and the bass voice with the left hand. Okay, so that's called keyboard style. Keyboard style. After you've completed the keyboard portion of the assignment, write out the harmonization. So, in this case, Benward is kind of assuming that now we've been through class piano and we're deep into class piano 2. And the class piano instructor is teaching you how to do figured bass harmonizations. It's a little bit of a lost art, and I don't think Sujung teaches. Does she teach you guys how to read figured bass? I mean, to complete something like this at sight?
I don't think so.
I don't think so either.
yeah, if no one's piping up, then probably not.
What's the point if the bass note's already written in?
Yeah, as a piano major, they would only give us the bass line and the figures, and then we'd have to complete this entire texture and transpose it at sight.
So they give you the bass line. So then if I see, oh, you know, an E flat 6, that means, oh, that's the third, which means the chord is a C minor.
Right.
So I thought they don't give you the bass line, or they.
So they'll either give you the soprano line and the chord symbols, or they'll give you the bass line and the figures. But the non-piano majors never had to do that. But apparently Benward's music majors had to do that at some point, or he would have been asking them to do that at this point in the chapter. For the dominant seventh chord chapter, he suggests that you should try it, but doesn't really assume that you can do it. So we're going to take on number 1. It's in a minor key. This one's actually pretty fun. Look at all the figures on the page. It's in G minor. Okay. So now, think about our chord vocabulary. It consists of all the chords from page 82 and dominant seventh chords, and now leading tone seventh chords, and keyboard style. I love keyboard style. I always did mine in keyboard style because it's just so much easier. The organ players would play open score. Overachievers, Julia. Okay. Part of doing this is copying out all these figures. So when I'm doing that, I write the notes first, because it's far easier for me to memorize shapes of melody than it is to kind of go pointillistically. That was a cool term from music history today.
I have to go to the nasty one. Oh, yeah.
All right, let's double check. Amaya? You are my fact checker. How's it look? The numbers below. Amaya says we're ready to go. Okay, so we're going to see some interesting Roman numerals here, which will help us review. We have a 6. Sometimes a circle of thirds helps. When we have a 6, we look a third below to find the root. The third below the E is a C, right? This one here. C, E flat, G. And then the chord of the downbeat is root position, so that's also C, E flat, G. So we have a change of position in the chord. Next we see a sharp below the staff. Take the sharp away, and there's no number. The sharp means to raise the third above the bass. This is a root position chord. D, F sharp, A. Okay. This is interesting. We see a sharp 4-2. All right, let's just ignore the sharp for a second there. And just consider 4-2. So I find the note, and then I go backwards 1, 2, 3 notes to find the root. D, F sharp, A, C. You're probably wondering, sharp 4. Well, that means that we're going to sharp the note that's a fourth above the bass, which is F. So we're going to see F sharp. Next, we have a 6. Look a third below to find the root. G, B flat, D. Again, we have a sharp below, a sharp on the 6. We look a third below to find the root. The spelling of the chord is F-A-C. I raise the note that's a sixth above, which is F. So that's going to become an F sharp when I construct the rest of the voices. Continuing along, we have root position. Oh, this is cool. We're going to have that voice exchange thing again. Next, we have a change of position of the bass. So the chord is the same, G, B flat, D. Okay. We still haven't found a leading tone 7th chord, but guess what?
There it is.
It's right there. When I see a 7, I add a root, a third, a fifth, and a 7th. This chord most often will be followed by a tonic chord, and then finally D, F sharp, A. All right, I think I have enough information to begin filling out Romans. The first one was done for us. Can we Romanize C?
Yes, that would be 4, yes.
Okay, and then the next chord is also 4. How about D? If C is 4, D is?
4.
There we go. D is still 5, but it's in 4-2 position now. G is still tonic. This is interesting. F sharp. 7. It's diminished, so I'm going to put a circle there. G, B, D is tonic. And then that stays the same. And now we have 7, full diminished 7. And that's followed by its tonic. And then half cadence at the dominant. So we've got our new numbers. Next we're going to add the notes. Now, the one thing I don't like about the starting position of the first chord, it's not keyboard style like he suggests that we're supposed to do. So I'm going to fix that. Because I think keyboard style. When you write in keyboard style, it's really difficult to screw up parallel fifths and stuff like that. Okay, so our first chord is C, E, G. So I'm just going to move those notes to their closest positions. It's kind of weird because when you look at keyboard style, it looks like that's a first inversion triad, and that's a root position. It's kind of the way we think about it when we're playing keyboard style.
Are you aware that in the book that they are using the 2 notes on one hand, 2 notes on the other, just like for the sake of what? I guess it doesn't really matter. It's just in the example, and we can write it down the way you're doing it. Is it the
In the example, there's a B flat above the G.
Yes, and I fixed that so I could maintain keyboard style. Think
Yeah.
about this, if I put the B flat down here, it wouldn't be any different.
No, the exact same.
Be the exact same. This is just easier to read at the piano.
Yes. If for
Yeah.
whatever reason it didn't occur to me in the moment that we could just literally ignore the first example in our book.
Yeah,
I don't
that's fine.
understand.
You'll get the same result. The cool thing about counterpoint is that, you know, it doesn't really matter how you write it. If your counterpoint is good, you can flip the voices around and do cool stuff. But the main thing is that for root position chords, we're always looking to double the root. We never double the leading tone. And try to have all voices present. Let's see if we can keep going here. All right, so the next chord we have our D and our C. We're looking for an F sharp and an A. So this is a little tricky because, all right, we're gonna have to, if we're maintaining keyboard style, we're gonna have to go like this.
Oh boy.
I know, we're gonna have to write some ledger lines that may feel a little uncomfortable. But that's okay, we can still keep going. Things are gonna work out just fine. Okay, next is G. We have a B flat and a G. And so we're gonna just move our voice leading. And it looks a little leapy. But remember, this is how Bach did it. And he wasn't a terrible composer. This is interesting. We have two A's, and we need to sneak into there in F sharp, into C. And then we have that. Okay, so here we are, two G's, a B flat, and a D. It's kind of nice because of all the instability that we've had. I think we can safely say that these two chords can just kind of be static, like this. Next we have F sharp full diminished 7, and so we have crossing off our notes. And then we move the other notes to their nearest chord tones. Now then, type 1 resolutions have the 7th moving down by step in circle progression. When it comes to full diminished 7 chords, they act the same way, but they're not considered type 1 resolutions because they're not really going in circle progression. They're going in a pseudo circle progression. As a substitute for the dominant, they are moving to the tonic most of the time. So the 7th, which is E flat, will resolve down. And it's usually pretty straightforward to do this. And then finally, we have our D and our A. Add the remaining notes, double the root. Never double the leading tone. And this looks complete. Next, we play it. Should I play it?
Yes.
Okay.
Please resolve it. Please resolve it using a 1 chord.
No. I'm okay.
No, they kind
But
of-
I'm going to play it again. It's interesting because if I had written this in open score position, I still would have played it in keyboard style. Yes, Grant.
Is keyboard style where you have 3 of the voices in the treble clef? Is that what that means?
Yes, the right hand plays 3 notes, and the left hand plays just the bass line. There are several advantages to keyboard style. One of them is, if you play keyboard style, it's highly unlikely that you're going to write parallel fifths. It's really easy to see if you have parallel fifths in between. Second advantage to keyboard style is you can play it on what instrument easily?
Keyboard.
The keyboard. Okay? Even if this was written in open score style, I would have played it in keyboard style. If I was playing this as an accompanist for a choir, I would probably play it in open score style because of the fact that what I really want to do sometimes is play the alto voice more, or the tenor voice, for instance. Sorry. So that the tenors can hear it more clearly, or the sopranos. Or even the basses. So I can balance the texture by playing any of the voices a little bit more clearly. If I'm playing in keyboard style, that takes a lot of skill. So I'm going to play the altos. So you know I'm talking about voicing. When you have to voice the inner voices with one hand, that's a lot more challenging. Okay, so we'll listen to it one more time, we'll move on. Okay, so we have that lovely half cadence. One last thing to point out about this one, we do have the phenomenon called voice exchange. Okay, so the G here swaps to G down there, the B flat swaps to there, and that 7 diminished 6 is the classic chord that's used to make the passing motion between these two positions of the tonic chord, first inversion to root position. This could have gone either way. A voice exchange is a common way to do absolutely nothing except voice exchange. So think about what happens here. It's tonic, and then you have passing, and then you're still where? Tonic.
The dog.
Yeah. So nothing really. If you think about this measure in of itself, I mean, it's all tonic. Kind of boring.
There's a diminished chord. It's not tonic. That's basically serving as almost a 5, and so I mean it's just an elongated. At least in the second one, it's an elongated tonic, but that measure is not absolutely for nothing because there's literally like a major thing going on in the middle of it.
Yeah. Okay. Let me give you another word for that. Instead of elongation, use prolongation.
Prolongation.
Correct, because it happens over time.
I see.
We're not actually making it longer, we're extending it through time. That's a Schenkerian term. Okay, the next step. The next steps, we look a little deeper into the chapter, and we discover more stuff. On Friday, we're going to look at 12.7, and that is analysis examples. So we're going to study actual music think of that. Oh. Now, if we are on the hunt for full diminished 7 chords, we're in the key of D minor, right? D minor. The dead giveaway, the tell, for a full diminished 7 chord is going to be the leading tone. What pitch is a half step below D?
C sharp.
C sharp. Now look at the very first chord. Oops. Yeah, there's a C sharp. So we need to be thinking, is this the leading tone chord or is it the dominant chord? Because they both have a C sharp. And so if we play the chord, sorry about that. I just got a lot of irons in the fire, as they say. If we play the chord, does that sound major or diminished?
Major.
Major. It's
like
safe.
that.
We can safely say this is a dominant chord, right? Oops. I'm off my rocker today. We'll continue along with that. So when you're looking on the hunt for harmony in music, we're in a minor key. The tell is always going to be accidentals. They will tell you, okay, look at this one, try to figure out what it is. When you I'm trying to say here, when you see the accidental, then you need to gather up the information and do the texture reduction. Use the circle of thirds to try to figure out what the root is, and then sit at the piano and play the chord. 9 times out of 10, your ear will probably tell you the answer. If you hear this, it's major, right? If you hear this, it's dominant 7, and if you hear this, full diminished 7.
Okay.
Okay, so yeah, use your ear. That will help guide you. The alternative is to sit there and count half steps and do that, which sometimes we have to do. But
Can you play a full diminished and a half diminished?
yeah,
Ear training?
yeah, we will. We'll be doing that in ear training, but just because of the request. Here's half. Here's full. It's just a little bigger, the half diminished chord, by 1/2 step. Okay, guys, I'll see you guys on Friday for analysis day. And then the turnout will be page 272 and 273, so we'll work on those as well. Analysis won't take long.